What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity build a video. And today I'm going to be talking about sleep playing. Yeah, you heard me right. Sleep playing the game. I don't know if anybody but me does it, but you know what? I'm going to tell you about it. Okay? So it's kind of a funny story, or a couple of funny stories. So typically, what I do and what I've always done is I play the game, yes, during the day, but I nap quite a bit during the day, you know what I mean, off and on. And so what I'll do is I'll have the phone in my left hand and I'll be laying there, and I have my right hand, I hold a stylus, and I play the game throughout the night. So what happens is I fall asleep playing the game and the phone just kind of, obviously drops down a little bit. So typically what'll happen is maybe, about 10 o'clock my time, I'll be on the game for 15, 20 minutes talking to people, and then all of a sudden I'll disappear from the chat. And then I'll look back and I'll see like just these random letters and shit that have been typed into the group chat. And people are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, sorry, fell asleep, and it's become this thing where like it's just this thing, Missy's sleeping on her phone, no big deal, all is well. Everybody's kind of used to it. So if you're joining my group and you see just random shit being typed in the chat, that's why. Now, this brings me to the whole purpose of this video. If you are like me and you have this issue where you play the phone games in your sleep and you sleep play, then you're going to probably find these couple of stories quite amusing. More amusing than I did at the time. Okay? So a couple years back, I had been playing and I was like, what the fuck? Where's my building, And I'm looking around and I can't find my building anywhere. And I'm like, okay, what the hell, dude? And so I go in, I'm looking for it. It was the Eiffel Tower, to be exact. And I had already had this issue once with EA where it had just totally disappeared, right? Now, this one was the Tokyo Tower, okay? And at the time, there was, when you hold down on this, like that, there was no bulldoze button at the time that I can recall. And I'm like, okay, what the hell? Why would I bulldoze my own building, And so somehow in the middle of the night, I managed to bulldoze one of my buildings. Okay. So that was just like a, wow, that sucks. No big deal. No big deal. I'll just fix that later, And so time goes by and all this shit. And I cannot tell you how many fucking goddamn cash to coin packs I have purchased while sleeping. And that is why I don't ever hold any more than 1,000 cash on me, or I try to keep it below 1,000, because when you hit this stupid thing here and you hit the 1,000, that's only 60,000 coins for 1,000 cash. That's a ripoff. Okay. So last mayor's pass, you get the 400 or 1,400 at the end. Well, I knew it. I knew I should have spent it. And I'm like, fuck, no, I'm going to wait, And nope. Within 2 days of it being in there, I fucking accidentally bought one of these stupid cash to coin bundles. So that's enough to make you want to break your phone, let me tell you. All right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. No big deal. Just another 1,000 down the drain. What's another 1,000, right? And so typically what happens is I sleep play and I hit buttons and all this shit. So I live with my uncle and his 4 kids. And I had called the house apparently the other night, and it was really, really late, like 3 a.m. And I knew I called because I had woke up and I was looking at my phone and I saw that it said 12 minutes on his phone number. And I'm like, wait, what? Did I call him or did he call me? And when I saw the text from my cousin saying, are you okay? You've called the house like 15 times. And I'm like, what? Wasn't me? Of course I denied it. Like, who the fuck's going to admit to that, right? Oh, no, not Missy. Deny. And so I'm like, oh, no, nope, doesn't say anything on my end. Must have been one of them scam things, where they like mock your phone number and they impersonate the people in your contacts list, which does happen. You know, I have had that happen. But anyways, I blamed it on that. And I go back and I look, and I am not shitting you guys, dude. I called the house 25 fucking times. No joke. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, that is enough to piss anybody off. If anybody would have done that to me, oh, whew, you don't even want to know what would happen. And so, of course, like I said, I'm denying it, you know. And so, I get up and I go grab a cup of ice cream, right? And I fall asleep again, holding the ice cream, and it melts. And I wake up to my phone, half drenched in cookie dough ice cream. Yeah, melted to be exact, okay? All over my blanket, all over my phone. And at first I thought it was just on the phone screen. So I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad, you know? I'm like, oh, fuck. But it was all over inside the top speakers. Now my speaker don't work. It didn't work really to begin with. I don't know why, but it didn't. Now it really don't fucking work. And so I go to pick my phone up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm half awake. And I fucking, I push myself up to get up off the bed and I stick my fucking hand in just this ginormous pile of fucking ice cream. And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Right? And so, of course, first thing I did was cleaned it up, and then I got up on the chat in the game, and I'm cussing up a storm, telling people what I did, and of course they're getting a kick out of it, because it ain't their fucking bed, it ain't their fucking blanket and TV and phone and everything else that's fucked up. And so I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. And so it actually dawned on me, and I was like, dude, I actually remember this one time I was sleeping, and it reminded me of a funny story. So I do weird shit when I sleep, obviously. Okay. And I had went to bed and I had a cup with grape Kool-Aid by the side of my bed. And it was full to the top. It was like just a normal sized cup, And I was having a dream that somebody was spraying me with a garden hose, like when you put your finger on the garden hose and it's like whoosh, And I wake up, I remember distinctively sitting straight up like, what the fuck? Like, who's spraying me with a goddamn garden hose? And I'm looking all around and my head's drenched, my fucking shirt's drenched, my bed's drenched, and it's sticky and it tastes like grape Kool-Aid. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? So, I'm ready to just full on kick the shit out of somebody for dumping this shit on me, right? And I'm looking all around, and ain't nobody around, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, no way. And I look over at the side of my bed, and I'm expecting to see what any normal person would expect to see, right? A cup tipped over on the nightstand onto me, right? No, that's not what I see. I see a cup sitting perfectly upright. And now I'm like scratching my head going, what the fuck happened? Somehow in the middle of the night, I managed to grab the cup, dump it up over my fucking head, and set it back down as if I was done drinking it. Who does that? Like, honestly, who the fuck does that? Can you imagine? Dude, if I would have caught that on camera, like, here's this dumbass sleeping in a dead sleep, and she grabs her cup of fucking Kool-Aid and does whoosh right on top of her head. And then sets it back down as if, okay, cool, I'm done. Like, what the fuck? Normal people would be like, okay, she tried to drink it and spilt it on herself. And, woke up like the dumbass she is with her shirt covered in Kool-Aid, not dump it over her fucking head and set it back down. Like, dude, because it wasn't immediate. It wasn't like, I sat it back down and immediately sat up. I could tell that it was way after, it wasn't like way after, but it was a delayed reaction for sure. And so I started remembering this other time when, me and a bunch of friends were partying a long time ago when we were young. And we were drinking and stuff, and there was like 6 of us passed out in a room. And we had this, it was like a jug, like a gallon jug of, I want to say it was cranberry juice, but I don't know if it was or not. And somebody had put something in it, and it had pressurized, right? And so we all passed out, and I remember again, the room was really, really, really dark. And I remember waking up to being like, I thought I was being sprayed with something again, like I said. And I'm like, what the fuck? So of course, you know, the first thing I do is I jump up and I'm expecting to see some asshole, you know, pulling some drunk prank, spraying us with something. Nope, fuck no, I didn't. I seen this fucking thing flying around the room, this jug that had pressurized and blown the top off, and it had spun around the entire room and drenched us all in juice. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So here's 6 people, you know, half hungover, right? Trying to clean up fermented cranberry juice or whatever the fuck the dude had in his room. I don't know if it was like something that they mixed that night or if it was old or what, but that jug, it was extremely pressurized. Like, dude, that thing just blew the top. It stank bad too. I was like, what the fuck? You know? So I'm like, oh my God, that's disgusting. And it leaves you with that distinct smell that you're just like, oh, seriously? Okay. Now, yes, I was a bad kid. Yes, I did all kinds of fucked up shit, you know, drinking and partying and whatnot. And one of my mom's, one of her many boyfriends, okay, had a son, and we had a couple friends that we hung out with quite a bit. And this dude, for my, what was it? It was my 16th birthday. Yeah, it was my 16th birthday. Because I distinctively remember showing up to my 16th. There was, somebody had put balloons on the wall and done up the 16, you know? And everybody like runs to the door, and it was me and 3 friends, and then, you know, the kid that I'm talking about. And we go into the door, and everybody's like, happy birthday. Oh, what the fuck? Like, you guys stink. What the hell did you do? You know? And I'm like, oh yeah, ask this stupid fuck what he did. Okay, I am not kidding you. This idiot, mind you, that's why kids should not drink, okay? He took a 5th of Jose Cuervo, and the other friend of mine was driving. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and we're in one of those Mercury Sables, like a 90s Mercury Sable, and he was in I was in the middle. He was in the passenger seat, okay? And then the driver, obviously. Well, okay, I have my purse down by my right foot, and we're driving on the freeway, and we had about a 2.5-hour drive home, okay? Now, he wanted to get shit-faced quick, apparently so. And so he cracked open a 5th of Jose Cuervo. A 5th, yes. Okay, he was like 15. And I'm like, dude, it's a little bit early to start drinking, don't you think? And he's like, he says something like, I bet you don't believe I can down this whole thing. I'm like, oh no, I believe you. I just think you're an idiot. And so the driver was like, no, you can't. You're stupid as fuck. You ain't gonna drink that whole thing in one gulp. Okay? I shit you not, this moron. I am not fucking kidding you, dude. He takes the 5th of Jose Cuervo, all right? And he tilts it back. And he's chugging. And I'm watching him, you know, and I'm going, oh boy, this is not going to be good. And I swear to God, I watched the very last drop go down into his mouth. And before he could even pull the bottle all the way down to his lap, he was projectile puking everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, you are a dumb fuck, dude. And I am not kidding you. What does he think to do? Do you think he thinks to, you know, maybe open a door, open a window and barf? Oh, fuck no. Why would he, you know? So he decides to puke on me. Yeah, on me. My purse is sitting down here on the ground, and he projectile pukes all over me. And fills my purse with his vomit. Now my purse is full of Jose Cuervo and chimichangas, okay? And I'm like, dude, you son of a bitch. What the fuck? And so it stinks so fucking bad, dude. If ever you wanted to just open the fucking door to the car and just kick somebody out the fucking door on the freeway. That is all I wanted to do to this kid, okay? And so I'm yelling at the driver. I'm like, you bitch, pull over. I'm going to kick this fucker's ass. You know what I mean? So he pulls over at the next freeway. And we pull into a Dairy Queen. And, you know, I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm pissed off. you know? And then I kick him out the car, and he's shit-faced. He don't give a shit. You know, he doesn't even know his first name now. And he's over here projectile puking, and I'm trying to get out the car, right, to try to get cleaned up or something. And I'm pissed off, and I'm grabbing my purse out of the car, and my makeup is just sloshing around in my purse, okay? And I'm like, ugh, about ready to barf myself. And this guy, hold on. This guy comes up, and he's like trying to talk to me. He has all these buttons on his shirt, right? Keep in mind, I was 16 at the time. I had just turned 16. So I didn't know. I had no clue. But anyways, he's got these buttons on his shirt. He's like, Hada Hoshafa. I'm like, what the fuck's he talking about? And so I'm screaming at this dude, do I look like I need to fucking talk to you right now? Like, why are you trying to sell me shit? And then I realized he isn't saying anything back. He just keeps waving his hands in my face. And I'm like, oh shit. I just realized he can't hear me. He's deaf. And he's trying to fucking talk to me through sign language. And I'm over here not fucking paying any attention to what's going on because I'm so pissed. So here I am yelling at this poor guy that can't even hear me. And he's probably thinking, God damn, this bitch is mean. You know what I mean? Fucking, I'm just like, do I look like I'm having a good day to you? And I'm fucking slushing my purse around. My makeup's just, oh, yeah, it was fucking gross, dude. It was, it permanently destroyed my car, okay? And so there was this stain on the center console, like the floor of the car. And so we had a 2.5 hour drive all the way back home, smelling like chimichangas and fucking Jose Cuervo. And the smell will never, ever, ever go away. Ever. I have it permanently embedded into my memory forever. Okay? So we get to my 16th, we get home, and my mom and some of the neighbor kids and stuff had put together this like surprise party, which I didn't know. You know, I had already partied all weekend. I was ready to go to bed. And I get there, and I walk through the door, and there's a fucking, you know, there's like on the hallway to my room, somebody had put balloons up that were in the letter, or like in the shape of 16, like they did the 1 and the 6, and they were all like hiding. And when we opened the door, you know, they're all, happy birthday. Holy shit, what the fuck did you get into? Like, you weren't supposed to drink until you got here, you know? And so he hands me this fifth of Blue Tarantula tequila. Now, at this point, I'm ready to just barf at the thought of tequila, okay? And the last thing that I'm about to do is be drinking goddamn tarantula tequila, which that shit's nasty anyways. I don't care what the fuck, that shit's gross, right? So, yeah, that's how I got to show up to my 16th birthday. It was disgusting. And like I said, I could never get the smell out of my car. It was never going to happen, okay? And so, dude, if you don't drink, bad. But especially don't drink Jose Cuervo, okay? That shit's fucking nasty. Now, why his dumbass decided to down that entire fifth, I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, the kid was a show-off, clearly, but even his dad was just like, dude, you're an idiot, man. Like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Kill yourself? So, yeah, that was my 16th birthday. And, you know, everyone thereafter wasn't much better. I mean, they were all had some crazy shit going on, okay? I've lived a very, very, very fast-paced, needless to say, very fast-paced, crazy, very crazy life, okay? I've got a lot of crazy stories. I just don't know how to go about quite telling them to you guys yet. But this fucking game, this shit here, is enough to tick anybody off, okay? Because this shit, I'm tired of this, man. Like, seriously. You take a game developer, right? And you're like, okay, look. This is what you know your players want. You know this would improve your game. So why don't you do it? You know, like, for example, the whole save data account, the whole system they got here is whack, right? I mean, how many goddamn people need to come to you and say, hey, dumbass, make it to where we can have our own account. Make it to where we can block people from joining our group, you know? Make it to where we have like a profile and like a private messaging system and a friends list on the game, not through Facebook. Because believe it or not, it's actually really annoying to have to go through Facebook every single time you want to save your stuff. Not to mention, it's actually really annoying that you can't have multiple accounts easily, because it's not like they're doing it to cut down on, you know, people hacking or having multiple accounts. People just download fucking cloning apps or just use a different device. So it's not cutting down on anything. It's just making the people that want to play more annoyed. And honestly, if they'd fix their fucking game, we wouldn't have to have feeders. Right? But they aren't going to do that because you know how much money they make? Yeah, a lot. So, you know, everybody always tells me, every time you ask somebody, how much money do you spend on the game? They're always like, well, I don't know. I've only bought the pass. And it's like, nah, you lie so bad. You lying. And then you like, okay, fair enough. So you're like, okay, show me your Google history, your purchase history. They're like, oh, no, can't do that. Yeah. So think to yourself right now. You know, you're thinking in your head, yeah, I've lied to a few people out of embarrassment. And you're like, how does she know everything? She must be so smart. No. But no, we've all done it. We've all lied about how much we've spent. And honestly, I think a lot of people don't even want to know the truth of how much they've spent. But just think if everybody spent $1, just $1, right? So you take this stuff and you take the pass, for example. For the longest time, we didn't have to pay for that stuff, the buildings and stuff, right? And now all of a sudden, we have this mayor's pass that comes out. The buildings are way stupider. They're tiny and they're fucking lame and they have little to no detail. And they've added in these new shops to kind of complicate the contest of mayors and everything else. But it's like, dude, that war feature and the contest of mayors feature, that's what they're trying to keep people busy on. Okay? A lot of people were at the point where they had maxed out their storage, they had maxed out their dozer, and, you know, they had done up their city and they were just bored, right? So, you know, EA was like, okay, well, we got to do something to keep these people busy. So they had put out a couple of maps, right? And then they put out this war feature. And then they just kept adding to it. And it's like, look, man, when the war feature first came out, nobody liked it. Like, nobody. And then some people just really started to go, you know, get into the whole competition aspects of it. Now, if you're going on based on, like, what the hell is going on here as far as, like, it being beneficial, it's not beneficial. War is so not beneficial. And honestly, even the contest of mayors, unless you're at low level and you can easily win the mega prize, it's not beneficial to play competitively either. Because by the time you manage to put up the amount of points to get anywhere near the top of the leaderboard as a high level player, you don't win. And even when you do, it doesn't really matter because you've just fucked off the whole week, right? So there's a lot of people that are high level players and they are into this cycle of spending money weekly, right? And playing the contest of mayors, which takes up 5 days of your week. It makes it you also have to look at, like, not just what you gain, but what it costs, right? And so when you're looking at it like this, if you spend, let's just say you spend $20 a week on the contest of mayors, right? Like, you spend $20 a week on cash that you use that goes towards bringing back flights and doing, you know, regional shipments, buying canisters, things like that. And you don't hit the top prize in your league, but you manage to finish the pass. So you're doing it mostly for the pass. Now, what if I told you, look, you can take that same money that you're spending every single week not play the contest of mayors competitively, just play it casually, meaning don't do any tasks that require cash, and just play casually. You'll be able to finish the pass, so you get all your pass rewards, and you can take that same money that you were spending every week and put it towards something that you actually want or like or can use. And then that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. But if you're a low-level player and you're actually able to win the contest of mayors without it costing a fortune, okay, then I advise that you stay that below level 30 for as long as you possibly can until you're ready to be done with the contest of mayors. Now, there's a couple of key things that a lot of people don't realize, and that is when you guys are, when you're playing the contest competitively, right? Certain levels have how to explain this? Okay, so I had somebody come to me the other day, and they were asking me why the contest of mayors was harder for a their level 18 city versus their higher level city. Their higher level city being right around the mid 40s. And I was like, well, there's actually a really logical solution to that most people don't realize, and that is that, well, break it down right now, okay? Break it down into categories. What players right now would be playing from level 1 to 24? They're either players that know the game and have restarted, and this is their feeder, or they're players who are new to the game, right? But most new players to the game are watching my videos or videos or whatever, and they're joining groups and things like that. So they have a little bit more knowledge than what we had when we stepped into it. And so you're going to see a lot more competition with the lower level players than you would with the medium level players. So the high level players, most of those players are either hacked or they've been playing for a really long time and they know what they're doing. And a lot of them spend a great deal of funds to get the scores that they get, right? So technically, the least competition that you will have is probably between level 31 and 45, maybe, is probably we're in that ballpark, is where all the people that are going to be, all the people within those levels are going to be the people that have screwed up, that have very low storage, that know they need to restart but don't want to. And those people are going to have a harder time putting up the same amount of points because they're also not going to be winning every week, right? So I'm looking at these leaderboards and I'm going, okay, what the hell here? And so I don't know if many of you watched the progression video yesterday, but I was showing CPT stuff, and there was a part in there where it was like he was level 20, and then his next screenshot was level 24, right? And it was showing his wins. Now, he went up like 1,000 platinum keys within those 4 levels. And that would have been exact timing. If he was winning every single week, it would have been 250, 250, 250, 250, right? So he won 6 times in a row. And it was very obvious because you can see his platinum keys going from 700 to 1,700 in a matter of 4 levels, right? So, I mean, it's really up to how you guys want to go about it. But essentially what you're going to need to do is you're going to want to win as much as you possibly can below level 30, right? And if you guys want to go up in level at any time in the game, you need to do it when you're doing your Contest of Mayors assignments, and only for the Contest of Mayors assignments. Do not bulldoze any houses. Do not do anything like that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get this video up because I wanted to make a different video today and talk to you guys about some of the stuff I'm going to be doing. I got my tablet up. We're going to do walkthroughs. I don't even know what I'm going to label this video. Just a Missy fucking rant, I guess. All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get the tablet set up so I can do the walkthrough.